Hey there, Perksprisoner here. So I have yet again episode 3, I believe this is. So I've lost my file and I corrupted the last one, so I'm going to have to do a brand new one. Okay, so we're going to go here and go into inches, and I'm going to have to do a little bit of quick research. I'm going to try to keep it brief, so if you have any questions, make sure you hit me up on, just leave a comment down below. I check it regularly. You can also find me on Facebook and Twitter as well. So, A5 paper dimensions. A4 actually is what I was looking for, but that'll work. Let's see, the width needs to be 8.3, height of 11.7. Okay, so we're gonna have this. Give me a couple minutes because I'm gonna have to slap some stuff together here and get it all back together. And yeah, I'll be with you in just a moment. Okay, so I'm gonna take a quick moment here. Hopefully you can see it. When you right click on the image, if you select alpha the selection, this allows immediate editing of this layer. So I can just go ahead and select the layer and I can just erase my hard way. I also like to use this rigid tool because it doesn't leave any funky stuff behind that can mess up the image. So I'm going to get back to this, get myself set back up where I was, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now that I've gotten sort of back where I was, I had some new ideas I also want to do. I just searched PAL Thought Bubbles, PNG, for the big explosion thing there. I do want to make some edits to it because I don't exactly like how it is. I'm going to unlink this right here because I want to kind of condense it some. Let me condense it so that way it looks a little bit better. And I'm going to use Shift R to rotate this. Just so that way it fits the words in the way I like. I'm also going to collect the wand tool, also known as the fuzzy tool, I believe, or fuzzy selector. And I'm going to use Control to try, or excuse me. I'm going to attempt to just get the black here. It's picked up some of the shadow as well. So I'm going to get my brush and I'm going to select I'm going to pick this layer because I want to try to keep the colors in theme. The best way to do that is have colors of identical suit. So I'm going to get the little eyedropper thing. I actually did more than I needed to here. You just click the little eyedropper and you select the layer you want to pull the color off of. And it should select it. Sometimes it'll come out black depending on the picture and how to format. But yeah, you shouldn't have too much problems here. So I need to go back to the layer I have selected. I don't know. Let's see how that looks. I might like that, just out of accident. No, that looks like caca. Okay, so what I'm gonna do? No, that ain't gonna work either. I'm not exactly sure. I want this, but I'm not 100% sure what I want here. Perhaps maybe I just want to add the color to this because the white is rather dramatic. I think I'm actually going to use a gradient here. And I'm going to get this in soft pink as well. I'm going to drag this, and depending how you drag it, depends on how this is going to work. So if you go from corner to corner, it's going to go from side to side. If you go from the bottom, it's going to do this. And if you do just a little tiny drag, it's going to give a very sharp edge. And so you could go right here maybe, and maybe you're trying to make a point here. You could do that. I prefer the smooth gradient a lot better. And I think I'm going to take it from point to point here. I'm going to look at it overall. Yeah, I'm still not happy with that. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe this bubble was more than I needed here. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete this. And then I right click on the layers when I want to get rid of them. It's the easiest and most effective. And I'm going to use Shift to transform this into a little bit larger text. And yeah, I think I like that a lot better. And so here, you know, I kind of have some stuff that I put in here. And I'm just going to kind of make it the way I want it. And I want to try to stay in the spring theme. This diffuser is pretty good. Now, when you put a new layer down, after you've scaled it and whatnot, when you add a new layer, if you come to this, when you have that white background, and you come down to the bottom here and you push alpha to selection, it's going to create this manipulative layer here. And you can see that I've deleted the whole thing without deleting anything behind it. This is actually an easier method versus my earlier mention, where I had said that you should go through this process of opening a new file and then deleting this, and then grabbing the image you want, selecting the area, and then erasing it. Oh, yeah, and then I was like, oh yeah, new layer, and it has to be transparent, and then merge them down and whatnot, and this allows you to delete it. And see, that's a lot of work because you're still not done. You have to drag it over there and rescale it and everything. So instead of doing this, if you add alpha to it and then make your selection, it'll delete it accordingly. Now, something I want to note is, I'm going to try to show you here. It's up here at the top, actually. And also, if you hold down the click and keep going and you make a mistake, when you push Control Z to undo, it's going to undo it all. So if you make small corrections, it'll only do just the last thing that was clicked. Anyhow, so that's not as important as what I'm going to point out. So you can see some of this is selected here. And this is a problem if you're trying to not create it so you can see the background through your actual image. So you just have to slow down a little bit here and pay close attention. And habit I have is I'll come around the treble area, but I know I'm going to run into difficulties and get as close as I can, usually lining up the lines so that way I can know that I'm as close as I possibly can to the selected area. Then what I'll do is I'll actually move my selection to about where I want it. And I'm going to have it just behind the Triceratops here. I've forgotten the names. And I know I'm going to have it behind the boat. And so now I have an idea of where I'm looking at it. And I'm like, cool. And I have to re-choose my selection. So that way it'll pick this. And I'm going to go ahead and just delete that so it's out of there. And so with that being said, I'm going to add a couple more things here. So like stuff like this here, like maybe I want to display the sense. Also, if you click this, you'll notice that my arrow has the universal sign for no. And so if you click outside of this box, it'll deselect everything except the layer that you're working with. Oh, and that reminds me, when you push M for move, or click this, the multi-directional arrow, It's going to have this here. Pick a layer or a guide, so that way when you're over top of a layer or something, it's going to move it if your mouse is in the wrong place. I recommend if you run into this problem where it's creating a lot of troubles, I would click this to move the active layer, so it's only the layer that you have selected. So no matter where I click, it'll put this exactly wherever I want it. So anyways, I'm going to put this back. And then, so I think I'm going to move these over just a little bit, kind of show the thing here. And I'm going to select this and erase it. And see, I didn't do the step where I said you have to right click, now alpha to selection. Okay, so in this case, for some reason, I'm erasing in pink, and I'm going to try this out. Add alpha instead. Okay, so that is a walk around. As you can see, for some reason, the alpha to selection is taking the pink, which the secondary color is always the alpha color. For some reason, it's not adding the clear background. So I instead clicked add alpha channel, which is done the same idea. I just got to make my selection. And then when I erase it, there we go. And so since it's so small, I'm going to go ahead and erase it all, then use my move. And so while this is good and all, I don't like the orientation of it. So while you have this selected, if you take this square selection thing and you just select in this area here and you push Control X, which is a cut, and then follow it with a Control V, then push M, and you can bring this individual bottle wherever you wish to have it. Now over here you see that it's a pasted layer, so you're going to right click and to new layer, and this is going to give it its own layer, so that way it doesn't create any problems in the future for you. These two, however, are still part of the same image, so they'll move simultaneously. So I'm going to go ahead and take this, and I just want to bring it up a little bit. Now because I added a new layer, it's going to put it on top. So I've got to bring this back down. And I like that a little bit better. Now one other thing you may want to do if you have a QR code is you can just simply go in here and in your search bar, QR code generator with clear background. Now this one's highlighted, right? The Kareem Akron, because this allows you a pretty good one. I believe it's this one. And so once you go down here, like from my website, I'm going to want them to be able to use your phone to get to my website. So what I'll do is I'll go to my website and I'll push Control C to get the URL. And I'll put here, and I'm going to push Control A to select all and Control V to put it in there. And so you can change what you have here. And the URL shortening, I wouldn't concern yourself with because it's not super long. And I put the error correction on medium high because this allows it to find any problems with the address, but doesn't like get super finicky where it's like, no, this ain't gonna work. Now the block size and pixels, I leave alone because it just, to me, it doesn't matter. So the foreground, I want this to be something that kind of goes with my theme. And so I'm going to get like a blue color here. And the background color, I'm going to say transparent. I'm going to go ahead and generate the code, and you're going to get this. You should be able to just save the image from here, and it'll save itself pretty much wherever you have a habit of saving things. Myself, I need to go here and into my Cincy folder because I have that open already. And you just need to save that there. Now, because I use Firefox, I'm able to go in here and just grab it straight out. Now I need it to be on top of everything, so I'm going to go ahead and put this here. I'm going to do Shift T to transform, making sure it maintains its orientation. And I'm going to keep it a little bit away from the edge in case the printer I'm using decides to clip it. Now, so in here, while it looks nice, you may want to consider putting it somewhere like this, where there's not a confusing background with it. You will also want to test these to ensure that you have not created them too small. You should be able to go to the view right here and go to 100%. And so this is going to be A4 format, and you should be able, if it's going to work, you should be able to use it right here. So real quick, I'm just going to check with my phone. And I'm just going to pull up my QR code reader, which is, it really doesn't work well. So if it works, and that means that one's, yeah, so it worked fine. It says open URL and it shows me my URL. The particular app I use doesn't matter because the fact that I'm not the people that will be seeing this. So I'm also going to add a little bit of text up here, and I'm going to say something along the lines of, let's see, scan code, or scan the QR code and shop now. And I'm going to drag this out so I can see my format here. And I want this in black for the simple fact that it's not something to make it fun. It's the point of like I want them to know what this is, because not everyone in their lifetime has seen QR code. And so I'm going to try to slide it right up underneath the QR code. And I might make it bold just to make it a little bit more visible. And as you can see, I have to use this window to move this around. And I personally like to add disclaimers for stuff like this. This is not actual size, because those bottles look very large, and I don't want to mislead the customer at all. Because first part of good business is trust, and if they have a reason to believe that they can't trust you, you're going to lose customers if you even get them at all. So we're going to go over here. We're just going to kind of move it right here, and I'm probably going to put down here buddies, where buddies have limited quantities. And we're going to kind of move stuff around, and I need to be able to see what I'm looking at. Still got to change the color. And then I'm going to use the home key to return to the beginning here. And that black. Because like I said, I'm trying to make a point with these particular things here. I'm going to use carry the pirouette to display that not everything is got unlimited quantities, which should also be a good selling point. Now, I feel pretty confident in this as it is right now. I do want to show you some other things that you can do if you want to make yours unique, because I beg of you not to make anything that is identical to anyone else's, because it's just another ad. Now, I'm pretty happy with this. I feel that it's pretty good. And so real quick, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do some things like rotations and whatnot. Now, you can do this on anything that's a layer. So right now, I'm going to get my cool text here, and I'm going to see, so that outlines here, that's not the right one, right here. So if you use Shift R, this is going to bring up a rotate screen, and you can rotate it in any degrees that you wish. And maybe you want to make something a little silly, and you can go ahead and do this. And like, see, that looks pretty good. I don't mind that too much. And this also gives me an opportunity to give it a little bit more room. And make it look a little nicer. And so I take a look at it. I think that looks pretty good myself. I'm actually kind of impressed with my own work. So now there's another thing you can do. What you need to do is you have to right click on these, and you're going to merge down, which is right here. And I'm going to do this a few times, because what's happening is it's selecting multiple areas. Now you'll notice that the not actual size and the scan the QR code and the buddies have limited quantities all move simultaneously because it's making them one image. So make sure you're happy with it before you start merging layers. You can use Control-Z to unmerge these layers, but as long as you're happy with it, they will merge down exactly as you have them. Unless you do something crazy, then you could end up with some craziness that you don't want. Now, if you want to leave the background the way it is, or separate, that's a good idea. So that way, you have your setup, but you can change your background as you wish. So, but me, I'm going to merge it down because I have no desire to change it. I prefer to make a new one every time, so that way I can kind of focus towards some of the stuff that's currently going on, highlight some of the new stuff. Now, when you go to finalize it, I know you're going to be tempted to use save and save as, but you don't want to do that. What you're actually going to want to do is export as. Now, if you save as, you'll notice that it has this interesting extension of XCF. Now, XCF is the particular file type that Gimp uses directly, and this will allow you to edit it, granted that you haven't saved it. So if you save it like this, I don't have anything to edit here, but you can create a document based off this and save it as an editable file through this. And that way, if you decide later you want to change just the background, you can just change the background, because I'm going to show you, and I almost forgot, if you go to scale image and you say 8.5 by 11 and scale, you'll see that it did change in size. So if you go to file and export as, and so you don't want to save it as a PNG. There's two ways you can go about this, right? So I'm going to just save it on the desktop, I suppose. Now you can select the file type down here, which this is all the acceptable formats that Gimp currently supports. Or you can just use JPEG, which is going to be the majority of what you want. I believe it also allows a portable digital file, also known as a PDF. So JPEG is going to be the majority of it. You can have this as seamless printing or edgeless printing, but you'll have to talk to your printing company such as FedEx, Kinko's, or FedEx Office rather, or whatever your local print shop happens to be, to find out exactly what format they need from you, and you can adjust accordingly. So I'm just going to put flyer .jpg, and I'm going to export it. And it says one already exists because the last video I did where I broke everything and I can't upload it has that name. So I'm just going to go ahead and replace it. Now you're going to see here quality. You don't want to bump it up to 100% because if there's any flaws that you didn't catch at first, it's going to show those flaws really well because it's going to be 100%. 90% is more than sufficient, and bumping it up to 100% is basically just garbage. And because it just takes up more space because it makes the file larger. And then if you click the show preview in the image window, this is what it's going to look like when it exports. You can see there's very little to no difference. And so I wouldn't even bother with that. You can go into the advanced options and play around if you'd like, but I don't bother because I don't have a need for it. So you push export, and you can see that if we go out here and go to Flyer and open it, it opens in Windows Photo Viewer just fine. And just like magic, you have a printable photo that you can make custom to you. And I hope this helps inspire some creativity because it's one of the most important things to make yourself successful is to be unique. If you act like everybody else and you do what other companies do, you're going to blend in with them. And so don't allow yourself to fall into that problem. And find your own unique taste and make it a part of your personality inside of what you're making. So I believe this should do it. I don't know if I'm going to have another episode. Feel free to comment below. Catch me on Facebook, Twitter, wherever you like. If you'd like to see more tutorials or need help with any of the stuff that I've covered in the past 3 episodes, there should be a link down below for you to get to episodes 1 and 2. I hope that this helped you, and please leave a like and feel free to subscribe and comment tutorials on anything you need, and I will see what I can do for you. But as always, until next time, you have a good one.